Democratic governments are in constant strife to regain the public's trust and reconcile. Currently, a branch of the government, the Federal Communications Commission, or FCC, has betrayed the public surrounding net neutrality. Is reconciliation possible? The Federal Communications Commission regulates interstate and international communications by radio, television, wire, satellite, and cable in all 50 states, the District of Columbia, and U.S. territories. The current chairman is Ajit Pai, who is a former Verizon lawyer. The FCC is attempting to repeal a law that limits internet service providers' bias on the internet, also known as net neutrality. Net neutrality, or open internet, is a principle that internet service providers should give consumers access to all legal content and applications on an equal bias. The FCC is currently lobbying for new laws concerning net neutrality. Their reasoning is reduced investments made by companies under these stricter laws.
Now, 2 years ago, I warned that we were making a serious mistake. Most importantly, I said that Title II regulation would reduce investment in broadband infrastructure. The economics are simple here. The more heavily you regulate something, the less of it you're going to get.
The public and internet users believe that the FCC is being dishonest. They see that internet service providers are bribing senators to pass the law that will give them control of the internet, much like how the Butlers took Macon's farm. He described the motives of the Butlers as must have been a fortune in oak and pine. Maybe that's what they wanted: the lumber, the oak, and the pine. The internet service providers and the Butlers acted on greed to gain control of these valuable commodities. The public is trying their best to stop this.
I'm calling upon all of you, the internet's time wasters and troublemakers, to join me once more in just 5 to 10 minutes of minor effort. I need you to do this. Once more unto the breach, my friends. Simply go to this URL and tell the FCC to preserve net neutrality and Title II. Once again, commenters, America needs you to rise, or more accurately, remain seated in front of your computer screen.
There are those in the spotlight acting and calling on others as it affects them. It is like Guitar calling out Milkman on his avoidance of important issues. This definitely is not Montgomery, Alabama. Tell me, what would you do if it was? If this turned out to be another Montgomery? Buy a plane ticket. Exactly. Now you know something about yourself you didn't know before. Who you are and what you are.
You don't need no education. We don't need no thought control. No dark sarcasm in the classroom.
It seems like the two sides won't stop fighting and reconciliation is impossible. Reconciliation requires understanding on both sides. The sides must give up what is holding them down. This can relate to Guitar talking about flying with the peacock. How come it can't fly no better than a chicken? Milkman asks. Too much tail. All that jewelry weighs it down. Like vanity. Nobody can fly with all that stuff. Wanna fly? You gotta give up the stuff that weighs you down. They must look at the reasons their opponent is acting away. If both sides can find an understanding of why an issue is happening from the other's perspective, reconciliation is possible. On December 14th, the vote for net neutrality is happening. Some senators tried to delay the vote due to potential fraudulent comments on the proposal. They justify that they have to have an accurate view of what the public wants. It is much like the 7 days, fighting for what they believe in as a small group. The larger image of the relationship between government and public displays constant tension between the government losing the public's trust and having to reconcile. Given the public's response to dishonesty claims of the FCC, reconciliation seems possible if the FCC and internet service providers were to remedy this by increasing transparency and replacing the current chairman with one with the public's opinion. Reconciliation requires the FCC to change because the public is too diverse to change. With the impending vote on net neutrality, I believe reconciliation is possible in the long term. Currently, the public and FCC are at odds, and neither is willing to give up ground. After the current issue is dealt with, either passing or not, the FCC may implement changes to regain the public's trust.